Hey everybody, it's Greg Rice. We're here in the bucket, that's Pawtucket, Rhode Island, and we're with the ever famous, yet elusive, Mr. Mick Lefort.
How's it going, bud?
Mick, how you doing?
Doing well, thanks.
Mick is our Director of Brand Operations, and if you don't know what that means, go check out our blogs on our website. Mick does a tremendous job taking all of the videos, all the garbage that I spew out, and creating valuable content from it. Mick dissects it, beautifully, puts it in different categories, nice numbers, nice pictures, corresponding videos. What you do is very difficult. How did you get so good at it?
The whole process, I think, in this role, the Director of Brand Operations, is similar to what I do in my other roles as an educator. I work at elementary school, before that middle school, high school, up and down the...
Preschool?
No preschool, no.
No preschool.
But a 4-year-old at home.
Okay.
Right? But,
homeschool.
Yeah, you get a good feel for, yeah. But you get a good feel for where people are at, how people learn. And to me, the lens that I'm in that translates really well to this is just thinking in terms of packaging, right? If somebody asks me what I do, instead of saying that I have 3 different jobs, I'm like, I package. And just that 3 different people give me paychecks for that same job. But whether like in the school gig, it's kind of, here's a typically 5 or 6-year-old who's like hitting kids. Like, here are the expectations of school. Here's how I repackage it so you can understand it. I think of it the same way. Watch your videos, you get a lot of good stuff in there, and it's like, how do we package this the right way so that we can hit, this objective? How do we reach the rookie investor who's trying to, jump in? How do we get into somebody who's been in the game for 5, 6 years, a decade? How do you package things for those people? So I think that's kind of like where my professional life is across the gamut of responsibilities. It just transcends really well to what we do here.
So he is a package handler.
Package handler. Really
no
good.
package too big or too small. So how did you get started with Nick? Okay, Nick, our CEO, brought Mick on, must have been 2015 or 14?
14, yeah.
What was the first pitch, or what did Nick say? Hey Mick, we got this.
Yeah, I think at the time I was teaching 8th grade and came in saying, hey man, you got any work for the summer? He was like, yeah, I can figure something out. So I was thinking like swinging a hammer or
odd job.
Yeah, absolutely. Like maintenance stuff. We had that conversation. He's like, yeah, I can find something for you. And then we just kind of shooting the shit and talked about a lesson we're doing on, I was trying to explain the Declaration of Independence to 8th graders who could give a damn. Yeah, I was kind of like going through the lesson, the whole thing, like talking about like how this applies, and he was like, I could see the light bulb go off in his head. He's like, I got a spot for you.
Yep.
It's like, we're looking at franchising, we're doing this. I need someone who can like process, the documentation and like through this, and like, and ultimately, pitch to franchisees, potential franchisees, like, just do that Declaration of Independence lesson, and we're golden. So that was kind of him saying, you came here to swing a hammer or whatever, and he's like, I got more for you. And I think that you had that same experience with Nick of, he sees a lot in you and pulls it out. So, yeah, so that just kind of evolved. And then as
Before you go on though, one thing I did not mention in my intro is that Mick helped us and facilitated this humongous, I'm going to get a copy of it, thick book, our franchise manuals, all written by Mick. And what we would do is encounter issues or encounter solutions or encounter new ways of doing things, and we would forward an email to Mick and say, hey, log this, file this in whatever system you have, so that when we go to create our manual, our way of doing business, so that we can sell our model, which we do now, Worcester, Natick, Fall River, soon to be Baltimore, hope so. And Mick had to create a manual that would get approved by the SEC, the Securities and Exchange Commission, in order for us to be approved to sell our business. So that, humongous round of applause. However, it's done. You've created those manuals, and now we can alter them and edit them as needed. But for years, he did this.
Yeah.
Tremendous.
Yeah, I think it's like anything else. Like kind of back to that. it was us cataloging our best practices, and they evolve, and yeah, we've got value to share with franchisees, our clients, whoever it is. We want to make sure that that's packaged. And one of the things that I think, like, it would have been easy to get involved with Nexus and then get on out, but I think what hit me was everything's rooted around values, right? And that's what makes the company so strong, and it's what allows us to, you know, kind of wiggle into best practices.
Right.
This is now a better practice because it's still tied to where our direction is. That's the kind of thing you hitch your wagon to. And back to that original point, whether you're working with 4-year-olds to 18-year-olds, it's the same story. Right, it's that same story. If you can teach these values, you can teach kind of the core, and then you let people kind of experiment in and out of that. You know, like I said, the 4-year-old at home, you're not going to teach that kid exactly what to do. You're going to say, here are the values, here's what's important. You let them experiment around it.
Towards that.
Yeah, but I know that on the franchise side, that's kind of where we're at. Instead of, you know, it's not McDonald's, here's every freaking thing you have to do exactly the way. It's, here are our core values, our core principles.
Go that way.
Here's what we do and why we do it.
Yep.
And now bring what you bring to the table.
Yeah.
And blend. So
yeah. Let me ask you this, and you at home, right? Today's day and age, we're so quick, instant, appeasing.
Yep.
Nobody can be told no. Nobody can be told that they're wrong. Nobody can be, you know, taught anything. Everybody knows everything. In your opinion, are people today, 4-year-old to 94-year-old, receptive to new information and learning? Or is there this shield, almost like a defensive shield, that I can't let new stuff in because it would show me as vulnerable or weak? That's the impression I get. What's your take on that?
My take is that, you know, to come back to Nexus, and I think a big part of why these videos exist, a big part of why the blogs exist, is to establish ourselves as the authority, you know, the property management authority. I think people are receptive to new information if it comes from someone that they value, that they see as the trusted source. If it's, you know, so it's, you know, in the world of politics, my guy said this or my guy said this. So they're, you know, they're to the point of, it's good that people are going to listen to that, but sometimes it goes too far the other way.
Yeah.
But it is that, nope, not going to cross that line. And so I think in general, we're in a tough spot where people aren't as receptive as they should be to new experiences, to new information. And I think for people in the packaging industry, right, that's that's the game. It's like, how do you break those borders?
How do you break it down?
How do you create a relationship first, you know, and then be able to, you know, show people things that are going to be beneficial to them, you know. And again, just to jump back and forth, that's, I get a 6-year-old who hits somebody at recess, comes to sit down. It's, if you're going to get through to that kid so he's not whacking somebody next time, it's not. It's build a relationship. That kid needs to, you know, he knows that I'm the authority, and I have to build that relationship. Say, hey buddy, like, here's what we do here. And that word "we" is very intentional.
Huge.
Like, you screwed up, but we are going to work through this. This is how we fix it as a, you know, as a team. Same thing with, you know, everything from 4-year-olds all the way up. It's I think especially in this role with property management, we're partners. With our clients. All that really ties together well, as long as, you know, you have that receptive audience and we're able to show that, you know, our incentives are aligned, right? That's a blog that we can put below.
Absolutely, we'll put a link right there.
But yeah, I think like Nexus does such a good job of aligning our incentives with our clients, with our tenants, and that's again something that pulls you in. I know you were talking about a bunch about the Sacred Heart deal in Woonsocket, right? That's I shared that with a colleague. They're like, wait, your company is going to create like affordable housing in an area that needs it. So that's fantastic. Tell me more. Like, that's the kind of stuff that it's good for everybody involved. And you know, now I can say to that person, like, hey, let me tell you more about real estate investment. Like, aha, because we've become that trusted, right,
authority.
Yeah. So they're willing to listen. But we, as the package guys, have to break through that, you know, why should I care?
That was one of the best answers I've ever heard. I'm glad that we got it on camera. That's good. So, my next question, which is, do you feel that people are motivated by money or motivated by status or motivated by something else when it comes to, in general, like again, stepping back into your teaching shoes where you see the students and then you see the parents and then you see the other teachers and then you see the sports coaches and then you see the management, the town management. What are people motivated by?
Yeah, if you asked me 2 years ago, I might have a different answer, and I think my answer might be disappointing in terms of the options you gave me. I think all those are important to people, but I think right now with where we are, the COVID and the pandemic and the expectations that come with them, I think people are motivated by comfort. I think it's like, for some people that is the money piece, for some people that is the status, but you mentioned teachers and I'm a union leader as well, and people just want to be comfortable.
Yeah.
They just let me do my thing or tell me what to do. There's like this, we're in this uncomfortable world of ambiguity.
Yeah.
And people are just like kind of swimming in.
Yeah.
And it's just, they want out. So it's tough. I mean, I think like you could almost say comfort is the big umbrella and those things fall under it. So it's really like a non-answer. But I think that it's a tough thing to answer right now because of how screwy things are. I know that work with people who just want to feel safe.
Yeah. And go home to comfort.
Yep. Other people are looking at it and saying like, well, it's been a couple of years and now, inflation's up and my paycheck isn't what it once was. Like now, so financially, like I'm not feeling the comfort. I think of it as back to the property lens, right? With the property that I have, we have a tenant it's a vacant unit, and it's because I know the ins and outs here. I'm not uncomfortable, but there's a discomfort that comes from that.
Yeah.
Like, and I haven't even thought of it as like monetarily. I now have this
cloud,
but it's just kind of like this doesn't feel good.
Right.
And I think we're kind of stuck in that.
Yeah.
And because we're stuck in that, it's tougher to say like, this doesn't feel good, and here's why. So here's the problem. Like, right, we're not able to be solution focused because we're kind of stuck in this. It just is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
It's tough. Like, yeah, how do you fix something that
is
either worldwide or it's that guy did it or that gal did it or like whatever. Like we're just kind of in this uncomfortable thing where people are coping in other ways, I guess, or just aren't. It's a weird time to be alive.
This is hard-hitting stuff right here. Let's flip it to today, and I would say, what do you wish that people took from your writing, right? Not the specific topic, how to become a real estate investor, how to buy this, how to buy that. What do you want people to just, if you boiled it all down, what's the putty left at the bottom of the pan? What is that? Just from a macro perspective.
I think, and kind of to backtrack to the previous question, I think that the message is real estate is not easy. It does ask you to come out of your comfort zone, but there's somebody here that can guide you through it. It's kind of that like, let me try to educate you more on what this game looks like. Let me educate you more on how it feels, where it goes, what, the nuance of it. But at the same time, it's always without being like, hire Nexus. It's always like hey, if you want to know more, if you're looking for somebody to walk you through this, it exists. I think that's kind of what it boils down to. I think it really is. Yeah, it'd be interesting to take all the content that we've created, just kind of run through transcripts or whatever and see what those common themes are. But a lot of it is that comfort, and a lot of it always comes back to kind of where we started the interview with the principles and the values. Trying to get to people of, you're going, hopefully you're in the situation that you're going to invest in some shape or form. So this is a viable option. Let me tell you why.
What other businesses, especially you at home, offer that? Offer the ability to peek inside. Not only that, number one, peek inside, but teach you about it. And then 3, work with you on your own project. Like the amount of layers that we peel back to just an interview like this, to the general public, to the general consumer, is unheard of for other businesses. You can't even get a call back from another company a tree company, a disposal company, a gutter company.
Yeah.
They can't even call you back. Okay, they can't do that. And then meanwhile, our door is always open. We're giving you endless content of true information based on experience. I mean, the amount of transparency that we have here, and I haven't really reflected on it recently, but it's unparalleled. We should be charging per video. We should be getting 3 cents per video because it's so true and it's so matter of fact, and we're all down the middle.
Yep. Yeah, and I think to your point, and somewhere I think like the later content has kind of gone is like trying to tie into that idea of like the goal here, the big picture, the macro of Nexus is yes for us to do well and yes for the clients to do well, but it's really to redefine property management as a whole. Mm-hmm. This should be an attractive endeavor. This should be an option for everybody, right? You get hired and whatever, they're like, oh, here's your 401k, here are your options. Like that's the norm. Mm-hmm. So getting into the financial markets. The opportunity here is just as great, and I know you'd say greater, but it's periphery still. Right. So how do we, through what we're doing things, obviously we want to generate business for, it's a business model, but nonetheless, it's like, there is that other side of saying, whether you hire us or not, this is a good option for you. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of opportunity here. And if you just want to watch all of our videos to learn and go at it, so be it. You're better off doing that than you are than not knowing that this exists.
Or just scrolling on YouTube watching car accidents or epic fails part 73. Like the stuff that people watch, there's millions and millions of views of like a cat, eating pepperoni pizza. It's like, how is that something that supersedes, and it goes back to my original question of do people want to learn? How does that supersede the availability of knowledge? We are in the best time in the history of time, as far as I'm concerned, with the access to data, the access to information, the ability to communicate. Logistics are freaking super hyper. You're going to have a drone drop a pizza next week. I mean, we have everything at our fingertips. When our ancestors, and prior to that, would wait months and months and months for a piece of paper to be available to them to read when 6 months from now corn would be for sale.
Yeah.
And we're watching cats eating pizza. It's like we could do so much more as a human, mankind, womankind. Mm-hmm. But I feel our goal here at Nexus is to break through the cat with the pizza and just say, hey, here's real applicable advice that you can use today. Yep. And people still don't watch it. No. We get 60 views on the video, 70 if we're lucky.
Yep.
And then we'll get 3 people subscribing to his blog. It's like, why?
Yeah. And it's interesting too, like I totally agree with what you're saying, but on the, the positive side of that is I haven't watched the full interview with the roof guy. I know he was from Bristol. I remember specific things. Sebastian, sorry, buddy.
Shout out to Sebastian.
But the point is, I know that guy exists.
Yep.
Right, and I've got an old roof and big trees and all this. Like, roofing is coming.
Yes.
Right, so in the back of my mind, I'm going to call a guy from Bristol, which by Rhode Island terms is very far from where I live. But I'm going to talk to him. I'm going to learn what I can and say, hey, who do you know in the area? Or can you come? So that's it. There's this network of stuff out there. It's not just these videos, but it's the social. True. If these are all social media, there is a way to play the game right. Mm-hmm. And like you said, this is a good outlet to start with. Sebastian.
Nadales Roofing. They got you covered. Let's tone it down a notch. What's your favorite thing for breakfast?
Oatmeal.
Steel cut? Instant? Apple cinnamon?
Steel cut. A colleague of mine recently was making fun of the way that I eat, and she put it pretty well, and it, I guess, explains my boring answer. She said, "You pretty much seem to eat for survival." Fair enough. I'll blame Irish ancestry. With when I was a kid, it was salt on everything because everything's so bland. And 15, 20 years ago, I went over to Ireland, and such a cool experience to sit down with like family over there. We had potatoes and peas and lamb and, home cooked meal. And someone said grace or whatever. It was like time to dig in, and like there was a fight over the salt shaker. Which is pretty much saying this tastes awful.
This is terrible. We need to cure it.
But we're gonna enjoy it. So I have a very uneducated palate. So oatmeal.
So oatmeal's your favorite thing for breakfast. How about for lunch?
Pepperoni pizza from Uncle Tony's. Well done on the brick. But the rest of the day is not going to be pretty.
Is there a cat eating that pepperoni pizza? No.
Don't like cats.
I don't like cats. Okay.
But yeah, right, and that's a childhood memory as well, right? There's a nostalgia to that going.
So for dinner is?
I don't know. I make a mean nacho.
So oatmeal, pizza, and nachos.
There you go.
Mick Lefort in a nutshell.
Probably is. Yeah. I had that thought. I was driving here and my truck is rattling a little bit, and I was like, man, like this truck seems to really summarize me. I wonder if other people's vehicles, like if you could play that game, right? It's an 03 Tacoma, got 100,000 miles on it, like.
I didn't know you had a Tacoma. Or yes, I did. Maybe.
Yeah, it's got some rust on it.
A little knock around.
Just like
yeah.
But back to the question, I was like, status-wise, nobody sees that and says, "Hell, there's the director of brand operations."
There he is, clink, clink, clink.
It's like but the thing's reliable and it's fantastic.
It's practical.
There's a surfboard in the back right now that you need to put in there. Like, it's practical. It does the job. You're
an avid surfer, right? You go out. Are you wearing the wetsuit?
Yeah.
Every time, right?
In the summer, you get away with. You don't need it, but even a smaller one. Yeah, pretty much every time.
And do you ever feel out there like, oh shit, I'm all by myself. I feel like there's a current. I don't have my phone. Oh no. Or do you always feel in control?
In control. The current's not so much. Surfing alone and seeing an animal is a little like, so the seals are in now.
Oh, okay.
I was out with a couple guys last weekend, and the seal head had to be like this big. And I was like, and it's, from here to that door. That's a little bit of a shocker. I was out once, and you're always looking out to the horizon to get a feel for the waves, and a fin came up. I was ready to shit myself, and it was like you could see from the arc that it was a dolphin. And I was like, all right, good, not a shark, but dolphins are a little bit. I think I'll catch one and get out of here. But the key is not to be alone, right? You're out with somebody else, and typically there are other people out there. But what an activity in terms of keeping yourself grounded. It's athletic, but not competitive. You're in the ocean. The scenery is unparalleled. And I think the big piece, the metaphor piece, is that like you get a surf report. It's kind of like the wave should be 3 feet at 8 seconds, and the wind is this way, right? So you got your data, and you're like, okay. And from that, you build, you package for yourself. Like, here are my expectations. And there can be a day where you're expecting a wave to be like this and clean, but it's only here. And you're like, what the? It doesn't meet your expectation. At that point of like, how was it? And the answer's never like not good, but it's like,
could have been better.
Right? Or your expectation is this.
And then that happens.
And then you get this. You get the same exact wave, but you're over the moon about it. Because it's just that expectation factor. And I think it pulls you back and says that, so much of what we do, so much of what we do in life is just based on your expectations. Where you set, and so much of it is controlled by our thoughts. I'll take this wave every single day, right? So I'm just going to plan for this one. Oatmeal. Oatmeal's fine when you're not expecting French toast.
Oatmeal with salt.
I do put some salt in my oatmeal.
Do you? No cinnamon?
Bunch of nuts, granola, banana, and then cinnamon and some salt.
I'm gonna have some oatmeal actually. I didn't have breakfast. I'm really craving oatmeal right now. But I like the little apple, the little flakes of dried apple. It's just like apple cinnamon oatmeal is like.
Yep.
It's my favorite.
The
little Quaker Pat, remember? 30 seconds with the hot water, and it's like by the time you stir it, it's you get the nice consistency, and you're like, yeah. And then by the time it gets to your mouth, it's like this belongs, somewhere.
I like it. I mean, to really just I beat this up, but
Yeah.
so, oatmeal's a vehicle, right?
Yes.
For all it's the nuts, it's the bananas, the other shit. To go back to the vehicle piece, and it's packaging, right? I mean, if there were a healthier alternative to me getting that other shit, then I'd go that way. But it's just oatmeal will do. You want bread? You want a bagel to get the same stuff in you?
Oatmeal will do it.
Oatmeal will do.
So thank you very much, my brother.
My pleasure.
What, if any, last words do you have for the folks at home?
It's an uncomfortable time, but always a good time to invest. So do it with somebody else who's been doing it for a decade.
If you have any questions for me, throw them in the field below and I'll get right back to you. Once again, Greg Rice from Nexus Property Management here with the esteemed Director of Brand Operations, Mick Lefort. Thank you, buddy.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thanks, bud.